Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, good tomorrow, good 7 days from now, good 14 days from now, good whatever is left of planet Earth. I'm glad you're taking the time to spend it with us. I'm glad to have you.
Thank
Dark
you.
times, Diane. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Every day I'm all right. I'm just, drinks help.
They really do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
thank God. Thank God we figured out ways to escape this mortal coil with booze and occasionally drugs.
I don't know if I should say this out loud. I took a piece of a pot gummy with someone in my family, which I don't do well with pot. I don't do well. And I was promised like, oh, just take a little bit and you'll just be fine. It was right. I ate the feet off of a gummy and it felt like I had a big goblet of red wine. And I was like, that's the level I can handle.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
It was wonderful.
I do really badly with pot as well, but I still like it's become kind of part of the daily routine. Like at the end of the night, like when,
Yeah.
when it's really like time for bed, then I'll start to smoke a little bit.
When your
And
shoulders need to come down a little,
yeah.
you know?
And my girlfriend just looks at me and just goes, okay, so now I'm losing you. I'm like, yeah,
Bye-bye.
it's bedtime.
What were
You're
we gonna
not
do?
losing me. We got 147 episodes of Schitt's Creek to get through.
I'm gonna talk about Schitt's Creek today. I have a thing. Okay, awesome. I have a thing. Okay.
I get up in the morning and like everybody else, I just give myself a little speech in the bathroom mirror. I just tell myself like, hey buddy, this isn't just happening to you. It's happening to everybody else in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
It's happening to everybody who's alive right now. It's
Yeah.
happening to NHL superstar Connor McDavid. It's happening to Barbara Streisand and her lovely husband, who's just been a rock for the Brolin guy. All right. It's happening to everybody. It's
Yeah.
happening to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson bought the Extreme Football League yesterday morning, apparently. I didn't know anything about it. Like I just woke up in the morning and it was just all over the internet. It was all over like Facebook and Twitter. Like The Rock buys the XFL in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, fine. Like you're the manliest guy around. Like you did it. You win. You win the contest. You beat Joe Rogan by a nose. I'll admit it. I only have arms because Dwayne The Rock Johnson has not yet decided to tear them off. But the only thing that I can think about is like what do you have to like? Because you got to even it out. Like I know he's incredibly rich and he can do whatever he wants, but like, what does he buy? What is he going to do for his wife to make up for the fact that he now owns a football league?
Are you
Like, it's not like
imagining as this wasn't discussed with his wife, or she said, okay, you can do that, but
I would think it would have to be like that. It either had to have the discussion and she agreed to it and is going to get like the Kingdom of Luxembourg in return. Or he just came home and sprung it on her like, hey, honey, have you looked at Twitter?
or she's like, well, I want Virgin Gorda in the Virgin Islands. That's what I want. Well, having had a husband who has done, I mean, obviously he's never bought a whole league, but he has bought cars and motorcycles without running it by me. And what I get out of it is just years of guilt. I don't like big things. I like just a small trickle of like, remember when you did that without telling me? I'm going to go away for 3 hours today and read a book in the bathtub or something,
Yeah.
or
I'm gonna need
a vacation.
I'm gonna need one small good thing every single day until the day you die.
Yeah. That's what we do.
That's right. I'm gonna want one small good thing every day until next Tuesday.
Yeah. Next Tuesday. Is that when we all die?
It's either when we all die or when The Rock's wife is going to murder The Rock.
Oh. Well, let's get into it.
Hey.
What are we doing today?
I'm excited about this one. I think we've been holding back on this for quite some time. This is the one that I think we're doing like if we had to, this is not my favorite band, but I think if we had to pick our favorite band, this is absolutely it, right? We're doing Depeche Mode today. It is yours?
It's my favorite band. Depeche Mode. And I'm so excited because we are bringing on our friend, very special guest, comedian Sara Tollemache, to talk about Depeche Mode with us.
Live from New York City.
Hold on, let me just go ahead and admit Here she comes, Miss America, Sara. Can you hear
Here
us yet?
she comes.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I just came in without testing anything. That's pretty ballsy.
Yeah, you sound good.
Thank you. I usually do, and then I'm like, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. I love your tweet about the person that comes into Zoom with bad Wi-Fi is like the kid that has lice at school.
It's so embarrassing. I just did a podcast and my Wi-Fi, I don't know why, but it was just crapping out, and I was so embarrassed. It felt like I was like a poor person. I don't know what I swear the bill. But yeah, you feel like, I don't know, it feels cheap.
Right. And it's not something you have control over. I mean, I'm not a tech person. I don't know how to streamline this. Like,
no, every now and then it just happens. But yeah, it cut out here and it cut out upstairs. So I just didn't know what to do. And I mean, I don't even know why he's even attempting to put it together.
Sorry. Well, we just told everybody that we were doing Depeche Mode. We didn't say which song though.
I thought it was Personal Jesus, so that's what I've been listening to.
It is. We didn't announce it. We put it up for a vote to the Patreon, and they chose Personal Jesus, which, you know, I'm happy with any Depeche Mode song because it's my favorite band.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're great.
Sarah, what's your favorite band?
Oh, what's my favorite band? I don't know.
That's hard.
I go through phases, but I think the one band that I probably consistently listen to every year is probably the Pixies, or I've been in a Fleetwood Mac kick lately too.
Yay.
But growing up in high school, I was a huge PJ Harvey fan, and I still revisit her from time to time. But I don't really like any of her new stuff.
Yeah, don't you hate when that happens? As much as I love Depeche Mode, some of their latest album, I was like, it's getting a little activist-y to me. I mean, I agree with the message, but I don't want to listen to it.
No, because I think sometimes when you get too activist-y, like I remember, I guess Barbra Streisand just came out with a new album in the last year, and oh my God, it's just like watching a commercial for liberals. It's so embarrassing. Like there's a part where it just becomes cheese balls, I think. You have to be a little, what's the word, subversive when you do activism, or hide it behind like metaphors, I think. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So what were you going to say, Ben? You were going to ask her something?
No, that's all I wanted to know was what's the favorite band.
Oh, okay. So should we just jump into the lyrics? The way we usually do it is we just go right into the lyrics and kind of talk about them, and then we go into just personal stories about it, how the song was perceived in the masses, and then our own personal stories. You want to do that?
Sort of where it comes from. And when I start getting like all like horribly like quantitative, is that a word? I'm making it a word now. It's quantitative. When I'm on my soapbox, please knock me off. I don't like being up there. It's uncomfortable.
Let him go.
I know what you mean. If you talk too long about something, it feels like you're being pretentious.
For sure. And I have to admit to it, because that's a personality trait I have.
No, I'm the same way. Like I just like geek out, but then I just feel like I sound like a douche if I'm going too long.
Yeah, like, oh, have I annoyed you? I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
But that's what's fun about this podcast. I have to reiterate sometimes that we are not coming at this as like aficionados on music or meanings or anything. What we are representing is the three friends sitting around the bar or the dinner table talking about these songs and getting it probably really wrong.
And enjoying getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was really hard not to... Let's just jump into it. It's really, I think, can we all three of us just like on 3, 2, 1, just do the first line, like all together? Do like the big breathe in.
I don't have it memorized. Let me pull it up. I just had it, and I probably know it once you say the first word.
Every time we try this, it goes horribly wrong, but I'm going to do it again.
Okay, I got it.
Count us off, Ben.
3, 2, 1.
Reach out, touch faith. I thought we were staying with the first line, like your own personal.
Jesus.
See, it goes wrong every time.
I think I left out "and" too. I just said reach out, touch faith.
I think a lot of people do that in concert because I've seen them in concert many times, and people just do reach out, touch faith. I'm like, there's an and. They're missing.
Yeah, I know. But for me, it feels natural to just go reach out, touch faith.
Right.
But yeah, and works. I'm telling them how to, I'm like, yeah, that works, guys.
Or we're just arguing. Now you're Cher's like, she's fine. She's bossy.
Can we do rotating Dave Gahan impressions? Like just like rotate the line and do. Can you try it? I'm gonna try to get all basso if I can.
In singing or just like his dance moves? He does a lot of like Jesus pose in concert that I don't like. I love
swinging
Depeche
snake
Mode.
hipped onto the microphone.
Oh God. And he in his older days, it's like he's really trying to be Mick Jagger, which I'm not into. And he keeps doing this move where he sticks out his tongue to the audience where he's like, ah! And I'm like, no, stop. I'm not into what are you doing?
Let's see. I would love to go see Depeche Mode again in concert, but they do look ridiculous because they're old enough now. Like, how old is too old to be the rock star sticking out the tongue, or like Morrissey shirtless on stage?
Well, Morrissey cannot do that anymore.
That's a really good question, because I always feel like rap is like a young man's game. Like, you can't be 40 and rapping. For some reason, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Or it's like you also have to be in good shape. It's kind of like how we talked about like goth. I think one time on Twitter we talked about like it's hard to be fat in goth. But Robert Smith does it. He still pulls it off.
Well, because he never moved much anyway. He always just stood there. He wasn't a performer. So who cares if he just slowly got bigger while just standing there, you know?
His power increases as he gets sadder and closer to death.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, people were making fun of Marilyn Manson because he got fat. Like, you saw that meme that was called Beautiful Pizza, the beautiful pizza.
God, sometimes the internet's great.
Oh, it's the best.
Oh,
if we're not arguing, when we're fucking around is when it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the thing about Depeche Mode is that at least Dave Gahan, he says Gahan, I say Gahan. Do you have a preference on how to say it?
I have no idea, and I actually blanked on his name for a moment, even though I just read it.
Well, he's still very thin, like very, very thin, and Martin Gore still looks the same. So, I mean, they're still pulling it off mostly visually, and Dave still has the same amount of energy on stage, if not more, which leads me to believe maybe he's not still completely drug-free.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't stay up much later than this podcast. I mean, I can't. I fall apart. And I'm like, how is he doing this on tour? He has help.
Maybe he wakes up late. Maybe he sleeps until 2 p.m.
Yeah, that has to be. There's something.
It'd be really a lot of fun if he got like as addicted to human growth hormone and steroids as he did to heroin. That would be like, I would really like to see like just like muscle bound, incredible Hulk freak Dave Gahan.
Actually happens when you quit doing drugs. Sometimes you get really into health and fitness and like perfecting your body.
I've seen that a lot. Most people I did CrossFit with were ex-drug addicts, and it's just one addictive thing for another, where I'm like, well, at least you look great.
At least it's this. It's not ruining your family, but your neck's out of control.
And I can't have a conversation with you that isn't about CrossFit, but all right, at least you're here.
Yeah.
You can have as much fun with a bag of kale as you can with a bundle of cocaine. You can, man.
Sure.
All right, let's get into these damn lyrics.
I'm going to try to do my Dave Gahan impression.
Okay.
Your own personal Jesus, someone to hear your prayers, someone who cares. Your own personal Jesus, someone to hear your prayers, someone who's there. This is a weird song to recite because they're kind of very similar things, right?
It really
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and these are words that are just like somehow like written into our hearts by now. Like we don't really need to go over it line by line because everybody knows this one, right?
Right.
Yeah, pretty much so. Like I forgot, make you a believer, or lift up the receiver, make you a believer. And then when I started, I like all came back to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like, oh, I know where I'm at.
Yeah, those are actually the lyrics I want to get into. Like your own personal Jesus, we all kind of get that. But feeling unknown and you're all alone, flesh and bone by the telephone. Okay.
Is that naked? Are you naked by the phone?
Or what's
vulnerable?
Vulnerable. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, yeah. You kind of like, is it like a drunk text?
By the phone. Yeah, it could be a drunk text, but I think it's like, this is like the late 80s, so it's definitely like it's teenagers. Like, why won't it ring? Why doesn't she call?
That's a good point. There were no cell phones back then. Like you literally had to wait by the telephone to talk to someone, and if they didn't answer, you just sat and waited. But he says, lift up the receiver, I'll make you a believer. So he's there. He's going to answer that call.
Yeah.
Did you read that, like, the way that they promoted this song when it was first coming out was Depeche Mode took out ads in the personal section of like UK regional papers. So like the Houston Press or the Village Voice or something like that in the personal section. So it was just like your own personal Jesus.
Oh my God, that's so clever.
Isn't that brilliant?
I didn't know that until a couple of days ago when I was doing research. I was like, that is great. You would call that number and it would play that song. It would play the new Depeche Mode release before it was released to the radio or to MTV, and certainly before it was on an album.
That's amazing.
I feel like that's something this band has always done really well is marketing. I don't know if you guys, I watched it so much when I was younger, but they did like basically the first reality show I had ever seen with Depeche Mode 101. They made a whole movie. They were doing their 101 tour, and the last concert was in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. And they were really nervous because they really weren't big enough back then to fill the Rose Bowl. So they got all these teenagers at a club in New York, and they said it's going to be a contest. It's like a dance contest. And they picked the winners, and they put them all in like this big party RV and drove them around to all the US concerts and filmed them like a reality show. And I was obsessed with that movie. And it was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. They were like the coolest kids I'd ever seen. And they were all Depeche Mode fans, and like that what they were like internally on the bus, and then showing them at all the concerts. It was so cool.
I am now obsessed with finding the driver of that RV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy still hasn't lost his 1,000-yard stare. Like, no, 40 years ago.
I just am like so impressed with people that did all that stuff, because I think now all you do is just try to come up with a good hashtag or a challenge on Instagram.
Right.
And then that's it, where like it just felt like you went a little bit more creative with trying to get people to check out your art.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Real world fuckery. It's a long lost art.
Oh yeah.
So take second best, put me to the test. I don't know what that means. Why is he second best?
Take second best.
I always thought of that as him being kind of like self-effacing or self-recriminating. Like, because Dave Gahan is a skinny guy who's into synth pop and he's not the quarterback, right? Okay. So what he's, I think I always got the impression that he was pleading with the lady, like, hey, take a chance on second best. Like, I'm gonna put you at the center of my life. He's not gonna take second best. Put me to the test.
I think that's actually hot. Do you know what I mean? Like you're going for like the number one guy that doesn't give a shit about you. Why don't put me to the test?
I'll rock your world.
Yeah, and I'll be your personal Jesus. Like that sounds hot.
I'd fall for that hard as a teenager. Be like, you
have to be hot though.
That was the game I played all through my youth, and I know it didn't work out well for the ladies who went for it.
Wait till they're like 35. I think that's when it works.
Yeah, you were shooting too young. You had to wait. You had to sit.
She's like, I'm gonna see what my options are first.
It works really well for like divorced women in their 40s with children, I think.
Yeah,
like
to be like I will be your personal Jesus. Do not go for that guy that doesn't answer the phone. Like I'm lifting up the receiver. I think it's hot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm into it.
I actually had a thought that is like, is he talking about second best behind God? Like, or Jesus? Like, yeah, Jesus isn't there to answer you. I will, though.
And
Talk
that
about
puts a lot of ego there.
Yeah, like Jesus ain't gonna answer your calls. I will, girl.
Yeah.
It's a weird line.
You're like, well, he probably is not going to answer your call.
Well, it is true. He has never spoken to me back. Ever.
He's really busy.
Things on your chest. Oh, put me to the test. Things on your chest you need to confess. Girl, just talk. Guys get, they talk about how girls are just kind of yappy, where he's like, I'm here, I'm gonna listen. Also sounds like a suicide hotline.
Yeah. It could be that too.
Yeah.
I will deliver, I'm a forgiver. That sounds so simple. It sounds like something everybody should be able to do on guitar, right? I mean, I know it's famously not a guitar.
No, that's Martin playing guitar. That's not a keyboard. See?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know these things.
Ooh,
yeah, I read on Wikipedia this was their first song with heavy guitar influence in it.
Yeah, because Martin was good. I mean, he's a real musician, so it wasn't all just keyboards here. I will deliver, I'm a forgiver. Reach out and touch faith. Is
and
faith
that's
what he
more
calls
or less
penis?
Yeah, that is pretty much. It's a very simple message, just like Jesus.
So if we want to get into some actual history of this song was inspired by Priscilla Presley's book about Elvis. Her book about Elvis called Elvis and Me, where she described their relationship. Martin Gore said, it's a song about being a Jesus for somebody else, someone to give you hope and care. It's about how Elvis was her man and her mentor, and how often that happens in love relationships, how everybody's heart is like a God in some way. And that's not a very balanced view of someone, is it?
No, it is not. It totally threw me when I read that. Like, I was amazed. Obviously there's no association in my brain until this week between Personal Jesus and Elvis.
Not a clue.
It's crazy to think of, but as soon as I read that, I went, Elvis's cover of Personal Jesus would slap. That would be incredible.
Do you think it'd be better than Johnny Cash's? Because that was pretty good.
It was pretty good, but like it depends, because Johnny Cash did his like in the last couple of years of his life, but like Elvis Presley in the last 6 years of his life, like Fat Elvis, white jumpsuit, Personal Jesus-ing it. Like Elvis giving out brand new Cadillacs singing this song would be just epic. I would love to see it.
Well, I definitely feel like Elvis could definitely deliver these lines almost the same. Hey, they have the same register. It's a very deep voice.
Yeah. I was that a baritone or whatever. Dave Gahan's got a very, very, very deep.
Yeah.
And I can do the lip thing. You're wrong.
Personal.
She can do it.
Jesus. And Elvis loves Jesus.
Yes. Well, that's why Johnny Cash did it, because he said he read it as a gospel song. He says, if you think about it that way, it works. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. He said it was like the most evangelical song he'd ever sung, which is crazy coming from Johnny Cash, because he's done a number of New World Protestant ballads.
Yeah.
That's sort of his thing.
Right. Well,
did his not mention Jesus as much as this one? Maybe this one has more Jesus per minute.
He did it line for line. He did a straight cover of it. It just very, very sad, like lower and sad, like the way he did that whole album, where he covered a bunch of songs, where he did one, obviously. But
because this one, I feel like this version has hope, and it sounds like the Johnny Cash version is more of a it's depressing.
It's like you want to slit your wrist. It's really depressing.
Which I'm into that too.
I am too.
It's funny that you're like, I like also music that you can slit your wrist to.
I like it a lot. As a teenager, I loved anything I could wallow in. God.
Oh
emotions.
God. What is that?
I don't know. I mean, like as a teenager, you just need to, you're like a sponge and you need those emotions just wringed out. It's not okay. Like we weren't at that age where you're like, you need to just stuff those down and not tell anybody. Like we're like, no, just get it all out.
I mean, can you imagine being a parent? I felt like I had a song on loop like over and over again with my door closed. It's just kind of funny now if you have teenage kids to be like, oh God.
Oh,
They're going through something. Like, can you just not be so dramatic about it? Like, how can you not roll your eyes when you have a teenage kid?
they've got
Yeah,
to.
that's got to be the hardest part about being a parent. Like, how do you? It's the most important thing in the world is happening to them, and it doesn't matter at all. Like, I've already given you the answer, and you've just shut your bedroom door.
Yeah. And they won't listen. I wouldn't have listened. Like where you just try to be like, none of this matters. You will care about this 0% in 5 years. 0%.
Yeah.
It's not even 5 years. You won't care about this by Wednesday.
That's sometimes. I held some grudges pretty hard.
But you're like, but we're in love.
What?
And then now you're like, oh, love is like on the bottom of the list. It's all about like convenience and time of life. And
Can you move a futon up crooked stairs with this person? That's all that matters. Without killing each other. That's who you marry.
Yeah. You're a team. There's no love. It's like, grow up.
Stupid asshole. This world's gonna beat this out of you. Well, teenagers, we've talked about this before, are psychotic. They're crazy. Like they're stalkers. Like
yeah.
girls.
Oh my God. I know when you think of your behavior back then, you're just like, I'm so glad that Facebook would have kind of curbed that a little bit, but we were actually driving by people's houses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did that many, many times. Probably listening to Depeche Mode while I did it. Maybe not Personal Jesus, but Halo. Yeah, Halo
Yeah.
for sure. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like, do you remember like the craziest thing you did with teenage hormones for someone you had a crush on?
Not so much me, because I would just be so kind of like too shy to do anything about, but there's definitely times of like, as soon as you got caller ID, like I was obsessed of looking through that and wondering if that guy, if I could will him to call me.
Mm.
You know the feeling of like, I feel like he felt my vibes and maybe he knows. It's kind of like maybe like a teenage misconnection where you read those on the back of the paper thinking like, maybe they've seen me. I don't know.
Right.
But I know I would have a friend, she would do stuff that I would be like, this is so crazy. She would call the family up, and then of course the mom would just divulge information where her son is and be like, oh, he's at Cece's Pizza with, you know, his friends. And then she would be like, let's go to Cece's, I'm hungry. And then when we get there, I'd be like, oh, I know what's going on.
Right.
We're not getting pizza. You just happened to show up to your crush's place. Like, I was like,
she's not even touching her pizza and she's like,
yeah.
Yeah. I would do.
It always makes me laugh that like the love songs that we do on this show probably come from something exactly like that. Like this was some young person like literally walking into a Cece's Pizza and having their heart broken, and they're just like, oh, I guess it's just gonna be just Diet Coke. And it's like, I'm just gonna have a Diet Coke and a salad. We're improving from here.
I was a big diary writer, and my problem is I always liked guys who didn't like me back. I couldn't just let it go. I couldn't just move on and find someone who did like me. So I would just wallow. And I remember I would do this thing because, I mean, I was bored. There was nothing else to do. It was before I had a license. I was probably like 14. And I would write their name over and over and over and just see, I mean, just how many pages could I fill up while listening to a song about them? Like a psycho. That's psycho.
Yeah. I mean, you would be embarrassed if somebody found that.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever listened to our podcast, but we talk about how I went back recently and read my diaries and I burned them.
Oh, really? I
It was
would
garbage.
kill to read some of the stuff that I wrote back then.
You would think so. You would
Yeah.
think so. It's garbage. There's nothing good in
No.
there.
You really don't want to. I have a whole bookshelf full of old notebooks, and they're all terrible. There's nothing in there.
Is it mainly your sentence structure? Like I use really a lot when I was younger and so you're like, this is really, from a grammatical situation, is really poor writing.
Oh, it's horrible. And I just remember myself being deeper, and because I know I wrote good poetry, I still have the poetry that I got graded on in English class. I have that. None of that made it into the diary. The diary was gossip, garbage, and wallowing. Like, so-and-so made cheerleading squad, and she's just a fucking bitch now. And like, it's just garbage. So upsetting.
More like I don't know, like I don't know what I'm doing, and a lot of like, if I don't get this, I'm gonna kill myself. Like stupid shit.
Oh, everything was such a big fucking deal. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to start an online business, like editing teenagers' diaries. It's like, send them to me. I'll clean them up. I'll make it grammatically correct. I'll put the words in the right place. I'll try to make them do what you're trying to do. It'll be like, oh, you're so sad. You want to kill yourself? Well, I mean, let's be a little bit more descriptive. Is there a bathtub involved? How are we doing this?
Yeah.
Yes. Ask more questions. Don't you think Anne Frank's diary was a mess when they first got it? It had to be. Like it must have. There's no way. But I do think people were probably better at writing back then than they were back in like the 80s. But like, there's no way her book could have been as good as it was written. Like it's insane.
How old was she?
Like 13, right?
There was a fucking editor in that shit.
Yeah, somebody fixed it. There's got to be doodles and like what you said, like just everyone's like, there's just a guy's name written here over and over for 20 pages. Like whose diary are you reading that's ever been like amazing?
It's not a 13-year-old.
Also, yeah, whatever boy Anne Frank would be writing his name over and over again is going to be like 3 feet away from her. Like he's going to notice. Like, you don't have to worry. He notices you. He knows you're alive.
Well, one thing I remember from that book is how they were so excited where the people who are hiding them made them a cake and brought it up. And I just pictured myself writing cake over and over and over. That's such a fat girl thing to say.
Also, where's she hiding her diary? Is that in another secret area?
Good question. Did they have pillows?
I don't know. I don't really know much about Anne Frank. I feel like I forgot all about her book.
Me too.
You did manage to get below the heroin addiction within Depeche Mode and make it more depressing. You got drilled
we
down
went
beneath
Holocaust.
the drug addiction.
I'm proud of us, actually. This is good.
My favorite diary was Go Ask Alice. That was a good one.
Oh, I don't remember the details of that, but does she get her period in that? Is that the whole?
No, that's Margaret.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. That's right. Ben doesn't know these books, does he?
I do not.
Alice is like the gradual diary of a girl that's discovered drugs and it leads to her suicide.
That's right. We've talked about this. There's a song.
So good.
There's a song that's written about this. We've talked about it on the podcast, I think.
Oh.
Did we do it when we were doing the Grace Slick?
Yes, I think.
Ooh.
That makes sense. But this book came out, I think, after Grace Slick.
I can't remember. I have to go back and listen.
I'm writing it down so I don't forget. But that was a good one.
That is good. So I want to talk about the covers and then go into like the first time I heard Depeche Mode, because it was kind of a very shift in my life. But out of all the people that covered Personal Jesus, Marilyn Manson, Johnny Cash, Hilary Duff, the one I was shocked by the most and I haven't heard is Def Leppard. They have a cover.
Weird.
Yeah, they said on their 2018 The Story So Far, the best of Def Leppard, they chose that particular track as the band's producer and sound tech, Ronan McHugh, plays Personal Jesus every day to test the PA. So this is where maybe me and Corbin's worlds can collide, because he likes shitty music like Depeche Mode. I mean, oh God, no. Like Def Leppard, and I want to hear this come together.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued. I can't imagine what it sounds. I mean, I can't even really think of like how distinct Def Leppard's sound is, except the guy's singing voice.
Love it like a bomb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love me like a. So this song was the first song that I learned how to new wave dance to. My friend Summer had older sisters who were all super into new wave music and going to like the cool clubs in Houston at the time, probably Numbers and then like Red Square and other clubs. And so Summer, like we're all like 11, and she's like, this is how you new wave dance. And for people listening, I'm sorry you're not going to see it, but for people watching on YouTube, it was this very specific thing that you do with your hand, like, and we only did it to this song. So it was like, and then like we're like, you're kind of stepping backwards with each one and then twisting the other way, and then you kind of walk forward and do it. And we did that one move over and over and over the full length of the song. We didn't change or do anything else, and we would do it at school dances, like all of us, and we thought we looked so cool.
It's like in Mean Girls.
Right. It wasn't Jingle Bell Rock, but yeah.
Yeah. I would have killed for that. People do that now, but it's on TikTok, and those dances are more there's more details to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, it was also around the same time we were learning how to do the kid and play and the like hammer dance and the Cabbage Patch. So we were all learning these like specific like solitary dance moves that you would do. So everybody knew how to like bust out their one move at the school dance. Like, I know how to do this, and then like, you know, Can't Touch This, Turn On, and then it's just an entire like cafeteria full of people doing the Running Man for the whole song.
It's so spazzy. All of that. Kid and Play was so spazzy. Also, all those songs were so hornball that it makes me laugh to be in middle school, just, you know, dancing to It Takes Two to Make a Thing Go Right. Like, and Two Life Crew, we were into that back then.
So dirty.
Yeah.
And
but
push
I don't know what it's like now, but it seemed like we were all like air pumping or air humping the whole time.
This freaked out Ben because I explained my school dances were, because I went to a very urban school, and so like we were all grinding on each other, but Canadian white boy Ben was like, no.
That is not how we do it. You got to leave room for the Holy Ghost and at least a couple of hogs. You're going to need a hog or a cow or something in between there. You won't be able to support yourself. That's ridiculous. No.
Yeah. I feel like white guys in the South don't dance, or Canadians. I forget that you're Canadian.
That's all to plan. Tired of answering questions about it. Anytime somebody finds out I'm Canadian, I have to talk about Rush or healthcare. Two things I care nothing about.
Yeah, it's crazy. Ben's Canadian and you're South African, actually. When did you come here? As a baby?
Yeah, as a baby. No, I'm the same way. People ask me questions and I'm like this. I don't know. I have no tie to that country whatsoever. I mean, my family, they are from there, but it's like, I don't know. It's awkward for me because I'm white South African. So then I feel like everybody assumes that I was part of apartheid. So I never like to bring it up.
You're like, I've read Trevor Noah's book. I don't know what he's talking about.
I was like, we had a great time.
Let's see. What else do I want to say about this? Okay, that's all about that. Talk about the meaning of it. So what's weird is like, when I was young though, it didn't like kind of, I guess I was an astute 12-year-old. And back then I did believe in God and Jesus, but I think some people took offense to this song about like being your own personal Jesus. And even though I considered myself a Christian, I didn't take offense to it. I think I understood the idea is like also like trusting your own conscience. If you understand right from wrong, like you can do that too.
mean, I mean, I'm assuming Priscilla was quite religious herself growing up, in southern Memphis. Like, she definitely believed in Jesus. So if that was coming from her, I feel like she had the ability to see outside, like she wasn't desecrating or being offensive to her Lord. But some people, I mean, you can't even say his name, I feel like, sometimes.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like when I thought about it when I was older, like when I was a kid, when I first read it, I thought it was like pretty clearly like it's a guy trying to tell a woman, like, I'm going to love you better than Jesus does. That was the way I took it in when I was a younger man. But as I got a little bit older, I started thinking about it in terms of like, if you're an English person like Depeche Mode was, and you come from Church of England or the Catholic Church, you're probably not real familiar with the American way of doing, where you have a personal relationship, you know, like the Bill Hicks thing, like there's a living God that can talk directly fucking to you.
Right.
They do in Baptist Church. You develop your own personal relationship with your own personal Jesus. And that's something that they do really intimately in American churches that they don't do in European churches. Like, no, there's Jesus. He's a guy. This is what he thinks. This is what he does. Like, you can't adapt it. You can't change it. It's not malleable. So I always thought that the genius of personal Jesus was the way that and this is probably a big bong rip or a big like flipping the pages sort of thing, but I kind of felt like it was Depeche Mode's way of kind of talking directly to Americans, saying, all right, if you want to do this personal Jesus shit, this is the natural extension of it. Like, it's going to get to the point where Charles Manson and like David Koresh and guys like that are definitely going to be like, okay, I'm Jesus now.
Yeah.
I'm Jesus, and guess what I want more than anything, more than your salvation, more than leading my flock to the promised land, I want some pussy.
I mean, don't they all just want pussy? Even Jesus?
I mean,
I heavily
girlfriend
suspect.
Not to get too blasphemous, which I am going to talk about blasphemous rumors, but yeah, Jesus had, his girlfriend wasn't, I mean, the Christians wouldn't be a fan of her nowadays, you know?
Yeah, wasn't she just a sex worker? Or is that, my mom always speculated that was probably a rumor from one of the saints that had misogyny and that she was just a regular girl.
I like that your mom has thought about this.
Yeah, well, you know, it was dictated by, not all men are bad at, maybe even back then, but like, there's no way that they valued women back there.
Right.
What if they absolutely did, and this was just like one of the apostles was just being just like incredibly vindictive, you know, like he's the one who gets to write about it. So it's like, oh, Jesus gets all the girls because he's Jesus and he's the Son of God, and she's just trading herself for eternal happiness and everlasting life, just like a prostitute would.
Yeah. I mean, that feels feasible.
Yeah. I will say, like, you know, saying that I was a Christian at the time, but this is also around the same time I heard their other song, Blasphemous Rumors. And then I heard XTC's Dear God. Did you guys know that song?
I know that song.
I loved them. I love these songs. So I wasn't against creaking open the door to hear some non-religious viewpoints, because I was getting to that age where I started kind of having those bigger questions. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this. And I liked it that it was a little, I mean, it was almost naughty when you're 11 and you believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
To hear some blasphemy, you know. Ben, you're out of frame.
Yeah.
I just see your ear. There you go.
I'm sorry. Sit up straight, boyo.
I met Martin Gore, which is fun.
What?
Did you
When?
really?
So listen to this story. I was like 28. I was working at a graphic design firm, and my coworker, Amy, had never listened to Depeche Mode. No idea who they were. She was at a hotel with friends. I don't know why. And they were like walking past the bar, the hotel lobby bar. And they were like, look at that guy sitting at the bar. He looks like some kind of rock star. And so they go to the bar and sit down, and he starts talking to her first. She's a real pretty blonde, and it's Martin Gore. And, you know, they're chit-chatting. She's just like, what, you're in a band? where'd you guys play? And it's like the fucking Toyota Center or whatever. And like,
Yeah.
he's probably loving it that she's never heard of him, you know? And he was saying, you know, his ex-wife is from Dallas. He loves Texas girls. And so he offers her tickets to the concert that weekend and backstage passes. So she's like, great. And she comes to work and she's like, Dianne, I think you like this band. Do you want to come? And I'm like, fuck yes, I want to come. And yes, I want to go backstage. So we go to the concert, we go backstage, and it's just like, you know, this small room. And Dave Gahan's not in there, but Martin Gore and the other guys are. And we don't know what to do. There's a lot of people there. And me and my boyfriend and Amy and her boyfriend are just kind of standing there like, okay. And then someone taps me on the shoulder and I turn around.
Wait, you brought your boyfriend backstage? That's so wholesome of you.
He wasn't going to let me.
And so short-sighted.
He knows my love for Martin Gore. He was not going to let me do this without him.
What? No, you get a Martin Gore exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So he taps me on the shoulder and I turn around, it's Martin Gore, and he wants to get by me so he can change the CD on the CD player that's, you know, we're jamming out in the room.
What was he playing?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
It wasn't Depeche Mode. But he's very short and I'm very short. I'm 5 foot tall. He wasn't much taller than me. He was shirtless and he still had his wings on. He had like he wore wings in concert. And all I remember is that he was covered in glitter and he had on wings. And I was like, oh yeah, sorry. And he scooted past me. And it was just this moment where I was just like, you know, I'm an adult at this point. I'm fine. But I was like, 11-year-old me is like, like it's like freaking out. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I didn't like clobber him or be like, ah, but I was just like, oh yeah, sorry. I just treated him like a human being. But I was like, holy shit.
I can imagine that. You have to like contain yourself. Like, cause you do seriously want to like nerd out on them, but then you don't want to have them afraid of you.
Yeah.
That's what 13-year-old girls don't have that filter.
No, they're just like, oh my god, I love you. I want to suck your dick. I don't even know. I just want to like, give you good feelings.
I want to finger you. No, you finger me. I don't know.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, that's and that's, you know, my love that began my love. That was my introduction into new wave music and kind of just shifted my entire personality. Was I think this song, this album, and then I trickled down into The Cure and the Smiths, and then I just started learning after that.
Yeah, I just remember sorry, Ben.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that I just remember my friend's older sister had tons of posters and it was like The Cure and Depeche Mode and she'd always have it on. And then it just was always, MTV was big and I felt like they were in heavy rotation. Mm-hmm. And then that's just like the music that I've just stuck with ever since. I can't get out of it.
Me either.
Not that I want to, but I'm just like, I love 80s music. And do you feel like Houston is one of the only cities that you know that's still obsessed with it or carries the legacy on? Because that Book of Love Story was amazing to me.
Yeah. I don't know unless if we have a listener out there, if you have a city that has a great like venues that still welcome the 80s as strongly as Houston does. Like we talk about numbers on this podcast all the time because it's like my heart will be broken if it ever shuts down. It's so incredible. And for the people who don't know, it's a nightclub that plays classic new wave 80s music every Friday night. And they have for as long as I can remember. And it's good. You're not going to get Huey Lewis in the News or Madonna. It's like warm deep leatherettes, deep cuts. It's the best. And like, and it's 18 and up. And so it introduces this music to a younger alternative crowd, so it keeps pumping the bloodstream of Houston in this like deep love for 80s new wave music.
Yeah, it's like everybody goes, it's like every genre of person goes there. You'll see a guy like a Tejano guy in a cowboy hat.
Yep. It's great.
Like, you know, like non-binary 18-year-olds that look like Gucci ads where you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah. It's like, remember that movie or remember the God, what were they called? I was going to say the movie Kids, but I'm not talking about that. But like the Club Kids from like the early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I only saw the one with Macaulay Culkin about the guy that actually murdered his drug dealer.
Yeah, it's
Party Monster.
Yes,
Yeah.
Party Monster.
Yeah. Mm.
Fascinating.
Scary. I think the first time I ran across Depeche Mode was a little more wholesome and family friendly. I was in a roller rink.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Which is honestly like if I'm lucky enough to get to heaven and it isn't a roller rink that plays Depeche Mode 24/7, God is going to have to deal with me. Like I'm going to be very, very upset. Like that's just my favorite thing to do. Like I would love to be back there right now.
Ben, have you
do
seen that Black Mirror episode called San Junipero?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God.
Go
You
watch
should
it tonight.
Watch it.
It's this. It's what you're talking about.
Really?
And I actually feel like it's doable in our near future.
Yes.
That our souls will actually be on a hard drive, and then you can put it anywhere, and it'll be a virtual reality world, and you can meet up with any of your friends that are also involved in that virtual reality world, and you can choose any destination you want and listen to any music that you want. But San Juniper, they play 80s music the whole time.
Yeah. Ben, I don't want to tell you anymore, so I don't want to ruin it. Go watch Black Mirror San Junipero. You'll like it.
Like obviously that's my idea of heaven, but it's clearly going to be somebody else's idea of hell.
Well, they'll be in their own heaven, and then there'll be other people there that share the same heaven with you.
Yeah, they can go.
No, I want them. I want my heaven to be their hell. I want them in there with me. It would make it so much better. Just to be like skating circles around. It was like, make it stop! Make it stop!
I think that we can work that out. But they can't hurt you.
Yeah, I feel like that would be my husband when we would have two separate heavens. Like I don't think we would be together in the afterlife.
That's a good point. If we're just talking about music, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Although I've broken Corbin, I found the band that broke him into like, oh God, now I have to listen to more of Diane's music, and it's Erasure. He's like, he likes Erasure and he likes Yaz, and he likes Soft Cell. So he's like, okay, I'm in.
So good. Why is it so good?
I think what I feel like about with Erasure is it's a body feel. Like people like to think about a lot of new wave music as being sad or sappy because they think about Robert Smith and The Cure and the goth look. And I'm like, no, you have it wrong. A lot of these songs are like toe tappy and they make you want to dance so much, especially
yeah.
I think it's like Depeche Mode is like an avenue where like it's okay for hard guys to feel soft, but at the same time Depeche Mode also makes soft guys feel hard, which might sound absurd, but there is like a level of aggression in Depeche Mode that isn't there in Erasure or isn't there in The Cure. Like there's a level of like the sexual come on that.
And it must be because they're not gay. A lot of like the other bands did have homosexual band. I mean, they were openly about it. Like Erasure sang
Frankie
about being gay.
Goes to Hollywood was one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're blatant.
Pet Shop Boys, I don't even know if they were, but like that song "It's a Sin," I always thought was about being gay. But and obviously Morrissey and the Smiths, but Depeche Mode, they were straight men and they loved women, and their videos showed like hot women all the time. Like the Depeche Mode Personal Jesus video is them going to a brothel. They're like cowboys that show up at like a Mexican brothel, which is pretty great, pretty hot.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just watched that video right now and it's like, it's so basic. Like we could just probably film that on our phone, but for some reason it works really well with the filters that they used. And then like, I guess the models and just like the clothes that they chose. Like, it's just hot.
Yeah. And that producer, the guy who, I mean, he's basically was on retainer and did every video of Depeche Mode, Anton Corbin. He also did the videos for like U2, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Metallica. He did Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana. He did that movie, The American. He's done a lot of stuff, but like Depeche Mode basically grabbed him as like, you are our branding. Like you create our look. Cause he did we did all their videos, but everybody remembers Enjoy the Silence too.
Yeah. Well, I just think anytime I go to the desert, I always think of Personal Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, right?
That's the song I want to listen to when I'm driving, like when we were at Joshua Tree. And then I was thinking about it because I'm about to go to Marfa at the end of this month. I'm like, I'm definitely making a Depeche Mode playlist.
Nice. It's a good job. Oh man, I'm jealous that you're going to Marfa. We were considering it at the end of the month too, but we decided it's too hot.
Yeah. Well, apparently it gets to 65 degrees at night.
Oh, okay.
Not that's like, oh, chilly.
No,
but,
it is.
It's like I'm burning up over here. So I just like the desert. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. My friend Michelle goes to El Cosmico out there like all the time. I think she's going very soon. Like she just said there's something very cleansing about the desert, especially in West Texas.
Well, it's like the world could be ending and you would have no idea. That's the part that I like about it.
It's a good point.
Yeah. And it is ending.
And it is ending, and I don't want to know about it.
And then I click off.
And then I'm just like, oops. All right. Have we covered Depeche Mode thoroughly enough? Can we get on to our segments?
I think we have.
All right. Well, I'll say our Dressed Up Like a Douche this week comes from Charity Williams. She actually is a friend that lives here in Friendswood, and her kids go to school with my kids. But I'm just going to say the line. I'm just going to say the one line she got wrong. And honestly, I don't know if this is a common one or hers personal. You can tell me if you've heard it before. But it's, if you like bean enchiladas.
That's so good. We've talked about our friend Lucas Harvey, his favorite song lyric that I think he messes up that's so funny to me. We talked about that one.
It was on our first episode. That was our first
God.
Dressed Up Like a Douche. But
I bring it up all the time when it's like cinnamon gum.
Yeah, for people who haven't heard our first episode, it's the song Oh Sherry. It's the first line. And when you put the words in front of it, it matches up so perfect.
No, but the idea of somebody singing passionately about cinnamon gum is so fucking funny because, like, no one really likes that flavor of a gum. It's weird.
That's what Lucas always said. It tastes like potpourri or your grandma's potpourri bin. Well, what's so funny about this bean enchiladas is like it reminds me of the John Prine song where a woman thought his song was about happy enchiladas. And I'm like, why do people keep doing this with enchiladas? And then, do you watch Schitt's Creek? Or did you?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, with Moira, that's a word I can't say. The way she's trying to do a recipe, trying to prove she can cook, and it's her mother's, and her accent's so funny on that show. It's her enchilada recipe. I'm like, no. Enchiladas.
It's not like my parents are English and they'll pronounce words, and I'm like, that's not how you say it here.
What's one of their
Like,
best ones? They do aluminium and all that.
Well, surprisingly, that one's like a when in Rome. Like you just get used to saying aluminum here, but like my dad would pronounce guitar as guitar.
Oh wow, he wasn't just being funny.
No, so I'd always be, and he would be adamant that he was like, no, that's actually how it's pronounced. But I'm like, I don't know. I get corrected on saying. Apparently I say the plural form of women wrong.
Oh.
I get corrected so much with it that it's fucked me up and I can't say it anymore. And I think it's because of my parents being English, or I like to blame it on them.
That's you have a good out. Just blame it on them.
I mean, it's awful. I've had several friends have to be like, say it with me, women. I have to say it like it's spelled WHEMIN in my head.
What do you say? I've never heard you say it wrong.
I think I was doing the singular form as it's woman because it's WOMAN, and then I think I was doing woman as that. But everyone thinks when I say the plural form, I'm saying the singular form, and that I'm saying the plural form wrong.
That's so
and
weird.
now it's confused the shit out of me that I just say lady.
There you go.
Ladies.
Ladies. Well, that's good. I've never heard you say that, so it went by me. All right.
That's good.
We're going to do guilty pleasures. Ben, do you have a guilty pleasure song?
I do. Elvis's Unchained Melody is
Oh.
my guilty pleasure song. And it's like for exactly that, like it's for all the reasons that it should be a guilty pleasure song, because it makes my brain, first of all, like I put myself entirely, like I become Elvis when it comes on. Like I get to be the rock star, so I'm doing the moves and everything like that. I totally imagine myself as if I was as powerful a guy as Elvis Presley singing a song like that. It's like wise men say. I'm doing the Prince Valiant thing, humbling myself in front. I know what I'm doing is foolish.
Wait, that's Fools Rush In. I thought Unchained Melody was the song from Ghost where they're doing the clay. Am I getting confused? Oh, my love. Isn't that Righteous Brothers or something?
Yeah.
That is Unchained Melody. Okay, no, all right, then I do mean Fools Rush In.
Fools Rush In. Okay.
Yeah. They're very similar, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, I can see how you get that confused.
Speaking of fools rushing in, oh, is my face red?
No. It's okay.
I do it.
Title wrong.
I think I did a concert with Dianne once, and what band was it? Wilco we went to see, and I was like, oh, I really wish they played that one song, and you're like, that's not them.
You
and
did.
Like,
we went to go see the Shins.
Yes.
And you were like, play that Jesus Don't Cry, and I was like, that's Wilco.
I was like, I'm so glad I didn't yell that out.
That was really funny. I forgot about that.
I do shit like that all the time, and Ben, it like crushes my soul when I find out that I'm absolutely wrong. Because sometimes, I remember one time I was talking about a jazz musician, and I was into jazz music, and I got like Miles Davis and some other guy wrong, and it was so embarrassing. Well, first of all, it just made me feel like I'm just this huge racist. I was like, to be fair, I do this to white guys as well. It's just like, you don't know that.
Well, I'm with you. I didn't know Tom Waits was white until like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
How is that guy white?
Well, that's like, speaking of, I, for the longest time, in my mind, Frank Black of the Pixies, his voice, listening to that in high school, I always assumed he looked like a Nick Cave guy,
Right.
like a brooding, tall, skinny, dark, handsome guy. And then when I saw him, I was like, he's just like a big fat guy that looks like he changes your cable from Spectrum. Like, there was nothing cool about him whatsoever. And I was like, I was audibly like, are you fucking kidding me? But I mean, now I appreciate that whole band does not look like how they sound.
No, you're
They're
very
unassuming.
Very right.
There is nothing like cool about them.
No, not looks wise.
No, but their music is like the most amazing music I've ever heard live.
Right. What's funny is that the opposite of that, I think we discussed this, me and you agreed with this when we watched that movie Juno, where she points out how bad Sonic Youth is. They are the ultimate, like, they look cool and the posters are cool, but she's like, they fucking suck.
That was like a breath of fresh air. That was one of the first times where you're like, I feel seen, and I've never been able to articulate this, and I feel such a weight been lifted off my shoulders that it's been publicly acknowledged in a very great movie.
Exactly. I feel like I was just going with everybody at the time, like, yeah, no, this is great. I love this.
Sure, they had a few good ones, but then you're like, no, most of this stuff sucks. It's awful.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kim Gordon. I love her though, and her memoir is really, really good, and I highly recommend it to read it when if you like a good rock memoir.
I will. Yeah, that being said, that's why it was so hard to admit they were bad, because they were so cool and so cool looking, and she was so cool. Okay, Sarah, do you have a guilty pleasure song?
I mean, I think lately now it's like almost like weird deep cut 80s that's not new wave, but like something you would have seen in a movie that never made it to the movie theater or something like that. Like, not even that. Like, so I heard a cover of "You Don't Have to Take Your Clothes Off to Have a Good Time" the other day, and then it made me revisit that song, and I was like, I really like this song, even though it's so fucking cheesy.
And drink some cherry wine.
Cherry wine. Oh no. Because I was like, this song must have come out at the height of AIDS, and it was like, you know, Salt and Pepper and TLC were all like promoting safe sex, but at the same time you're like, I don't want to hear that in my music. I want fucking, you know, relax, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, make you want to come. I'm like, I want fucking
I want
sex in my songs.
I want 2 Live Crew.
I want dirty, vulgar things that you're not supposed to hear or listen to. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah, no one wants to hear a church song about abstinence. We don't take our clothes off to have a good time. What, let's play Scrabble? Fuck this. And drink some cherry wine? That's obviously someone who doesn't drink.
Yeah, and then that song doesn't really go anywhere. It just goes, na, 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 like, and that's all it does. And then it has like a huge trumpet section in the beginning. So it's only about like one verse, and then it sucks. But I mean, I went back to that and was like, I could actually listen to a whole playlist of these kind of songs, like the Rick Astley. Yeah. I love, what is that? Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car.
Is that Billy Ocean?
Yes.
Billy Ocean, Caribbean Queen. Oh, I love, like, that song is so good. Yeah.
That's almost like Black Yacht Rock.
Yeah.
I guess it's Caribbean Yacht Rock.
Yeah. I really enjoyed those. And a lot of Bryan Adams. Like, I've revisited some of his older stuff, and you're like, this guy's cool. I like his music. I don't know. I don't feel like people were like, yeah, I really like Bryan. Like, nobody was in the Bryan Adams anthology. Like,
no one cool, at least.
Yeah. It's like, remember watching the movie American Psycho, and he's just delivering a huge monologue about Genesis, and you're like, yes. I was like, I like Genesis, but I don't remember it being that like like, it's really funny to have a character so passionate and like dissecting the lyrics of Genesis.
That's really funny that you bring that up. Yeah, I mean, we've covered a Phil Collins song, but yeah, only like a true sociopath would be that in love with Genesis.
Yeah, like Susu Studio. Like, that's insane.
That's
Go
really
on the
funny.
nose with that.
I hate to even, I really went back and forth with my guilty pleasure song because I thought it'd be funny if we're talking about my favorite band, Depeche Mode, and then I went Bone Thugs and Harmony, like took a hard left, but I decided, because I don't know where else to stick the song, because it is a very deep cut 80s new wave song, and I only have ever heard it at Numbers. And when I went to Numbers for my bachelorette party, and I made them play it, and I'm like in my bachelorette white gear, but it's called Lucifer's Friend by UK Vision.
That's really good.
Do you know it? Like, do you remember it?
So no, I'm gonna have to listen afterwards.
Everybody can pull it up. There's a YouTube video, and you're going to be like, Dianne, no. What
is it called? Lucifer's Friend?
Lucifer's Friend. And
First of all, that title's awful.
So it's the most new wave 80s you can get. Like, the guy's hair, he almost looks like Boy George, but shaved on the side. And he's playing a keyboard harder than anyone's ever played a keyboard. Like, he's like throwing his hair around and playing it. And the guy singing, the song is about being a vampire, like the fucking like stereotype of being goth, which I was always like, I was never goth. I was new wave. I didn't like vampires and shit. You know, there's a difference. But it's like the song, he sounds really, really deep voice, but it's like, my eyes burn in the darkness, waiting outside your home. But the lyrics are shit, but it's like the jammiest new wave keyboard jam. I mean, I cut a rug to this song when they played at Numbers. And also at Numbers, when the song comes on, they have the big drop down screen, and it always plays this weird cut up scenes from The Exorcist, which makes it like really fucking creepy when the song plays. but it's my
Oh,
favorite.
nice.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the new wave version of like the Monster Mash. Really, it's like a novelty song, but you're like, I don't know. I like it.
Let's love it.
There's something that I like about it.
God, I wish we could play clips of songs on this video and not get in trouble, but I honestly feel like no one's going to come after us with this song.
Yeah.
They're like, we're just so grateful that somebody liked it.
I know. But I will ask people, go on to YouTube and look up Lucifer's Friend and then just have a good hard laugh at how bad they look and how bad it is. But I love it. I love it.
I can't wait.
Let's ask Chuck Savage to see if he can do a new wave version of Monster Mash.
I bet he could. I bet he could. Well, Sara, I want to promote you a little bit, or do you want to go ahead and promote yourself? You just had a new album drop.
Go buy Voluptuous Boy.
Or you can stream it. I think
Yes.
you can, if you just have a subscription service to iTunes, you can just stream it. Or you can do it on Pandora and Spotify and Google Play and Amazon. And I think you can get a hard copy off of Amazon or something.
A what?
I don't know. No one talks to me. I just show up, I do my thing, and then I leave. And then I'm like, okay, just tell me what I need to do.
Sara,
So that's what they told me.
Sara Tollemache, Voluptuous Boy, which is such a great title. I remember you were going back and forth trying to pick different ones, but that's great.
I know I was going to do White Lady, and then we decided not to because it would have come out, or at the time when we were going over it was during BLM. And then I think they were like, out of context, I don't think this would hit. And I was like, I don't want to start a fight or
Yeah.
not a fight. I don't even think I would make any dent, but I just didn't want to deal with any hate. And that's not what I wanted to do. So my second favorite was Voluptuous Boy.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's very funny.
Oh, thank
I
you.
like Voluptuous Boy a lot.
Yeah. Well, this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Last time I made my last guest like stay on while I read the business, and I'm not going to do that to you. So we can go ahead and say goodbye, and then I'll do that part.
All right. I'll see you
Do
guys.
you want to stay? Do you want to hear?
Yeah, I'll just
Patreon.
I'll hear the business and then I'll sign off with all you guys.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
She's a brand.
Wait, did somebody give you shit about being like, I can't believe you made me stay here for your fucking business?
No, that's my
No.
own anxiety. That's what that is. Where I was reading it and then I was looking at their faces while I was reading it and they looked bored, which you do look bored. And I was like, I'm never doing this again.
I'll go full on excitement for you.
Oh, yay. All right. Special thank you to Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins for our amazing intro music. And you guys, this is great. Hold on, keep it going, more. And Sara Wessling, who you know, for our Guilty Pleasures vocals. If you would like to support the podcast, you can join our Patreon for $5 a month at patreon.com/rockthecashbar. With that $5, you will get some cool swag and a chance to vote on every other song we cover. Like this song was a voted on song. We pick one week, you pick one the next week. We have a Spotify playlist of all the songs we cover, including the Guilty Pleasure songs. It's searchable on Spotify, or you can find the direct link on our website, rockthecashbarpodcast.com. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. New episodes every Thursday. If you have a misheard song lyric you'd like us to read on the podcast, email us at rockthecashbarpodcast@gmail.com or just tweet us, Facebook messages, all those things. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next Thursday. Oh, should we tell them who the guest will be next Thursday?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think we picked a song yet, but we are going to have friend and comedian Tommy Drake on the show, and we're covering some Beatles song. I don't know which one yet.
The wizard's going to decide that.
Tommy's a huge Beatles fan, and we've been just going back and forth with him, like, which song should we do? And finally we're like, well, let's just let him come on and he'll talk about it for us.
Yeah.
Should be fun. Well, Sara, it was so good to see you. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yay.
Good to see you again, Sara.
Always.
At the end, we all like in unison, we like to say Vogue. It's me and Ben's like, it's our like 10-4 goodbye.
Gotcha.
We'll sign
Do you
off.
want me to, do I sit out?
No, you can do it with
No,
us.
no, come on.
Okay.
And
Vogue.
Vogue.
Vogue.